And welcome to this new video on classes. Well, so this video is actually going to start formally our journey into object-oriented programming. Some of you might be aware of what object-oriented programming is. It's basically this idea that whatever functionality we want to achieve in an application, let's say you're trying to log in a user to your website. So you could, store users' name somewhere. Let's say you can store their password somewhere. You might be storing their gender somewhere. Might be storing, other fields about them separately. But what we would like is if all that relevant data, stayed in one place. So for that, what we would need is some sort of a model or some sort of a class, wherein we can actually just go and change or update the fields, and the user will get updated. All right. So this idea, that this programming philosophy, basically, that we have dedicated objects to do our tasks, that is object-oriented programming. All right. There are many languages that can be used to implement this. Python is also one of them, and a perfectly capable language. So we will see how it is actually implemented in Python. Now, there are actually some standard facets, or some standard aspects of object-oriented programming. In this course, we are going to see just one of them, which is inheritance, and that too not in this video. All right. So today, what we are going to see is just how to define a simple class and be able to create objects of the class. All right. So let's say we wanted to, model a course. All right. Let's say you're designing a course. So first thing is you have to choose the name of the class. Let's say the name of your class is course. Okay. And well, because this is a class, you have to actually use this keyword class in front of it. All right. So you could say class course, and now you can put this parenthesis over after that, and you have to press the colon. All right. This colon is important because now you have to actually write within the body of the class. All right. So let's just say that, okay, our course that we are talking about has three properties. One is the title of the course, okay, like what's the name of the course, the instructor who's taking that course, and the duration. All right. Let's say in the number of hours, how long is this course? All right. So let's just put these values. So we want to say something like, title is equal to, and let's just set some title equal to, let's say you're interested in gardening. All right. So title is gardening, or we could just say a course in gardening to make it a bit fancy. All right. The instructor, let's say the instructor is some guy named Bob. All right. And the duration in hours, let's say it's a small, like 20-hour course, so we could just say duration is equal to 20. All right. So these variables that you have now, title, instructor, and duration, these variables, these attributes are present inside of the Python class. All right. Now we come outside here, and now we have to create an object of the class. So creating an object is as simple as, first of all, you just write the name of a variable. Till now we have been doing x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. Now you can just say x is equal to, now what do you want? You want to have this course, right? So you have to say x is equal to course. Let's just go ahead and print out the type of x over here. So the important thing to understand is that x belongs to the data type called course, or that is the object type of x. So we wouldn't be getting string or integer or anything. What we would be getting is actually let's just actually run this. Yeah, you see here we are getting this course object, right? So it means that x is basically a data type of course. Fine. Now if we have an object, we can access properties of that object. All right. So imagine that there is a course object like sitting somewhere. So it's over there. That's a course. It has three attributes set. Okay. Title, instructor, duration. So let's say you just wanted to view, okay, what was the title of the course? You could just say print x.title, and that will show you that the course title is a course in gardening. All right. By changing title to any other attribute you want, you can just make that change appropriately, and it will reflect very nicely. Now what if you want to update? Actually, let's just say you wanted to let's say you wanted to change the duration. All right. You said that no, 20 hours is probably too little, so I'm gonna make it a 25-hour course. So you could just do x.duration is equal to 25. All right. And now if you print x.duration, what you're going to get is 25. Focus on this one over here. See, we will have this same print statement, before updating the duration and after updating the duration. So at this line, in line number 11, the duration by default is 20, right? So you're going to get 20, but after that we set the duration to 25, so it just updates to 25. Basically, just like how we update a variable outside of a class, we just do that, for the class as well. The thing is, when when you try to update something inside of the class, you always have to follow it by the name of the object. So you have to say, x dot duration is equal to 25. If you just do something like duration is equal to 25, what happens is that a new variable is, a new variable called duration is created, whose value is 25. Now this variable and this variable have nothing to do with each other. All right, if you see this now, both of them are 20. So since you want to update the duration of the course, and the course has been referred to, by x, you have to do x dot duration. All right, that being said, it's not the best idea, to actually name your variables as x, y and z. I mean, if that is what is required, then you can do that, but most of the times variable names should be context sensitive, and they should display, they should actually reflect upon the property that that they are conveying. So I'll just go ahead and refactor this. You can go to refactor, rename. Again, this is if you're using PyCharm. For other IDEs as well, there must be a similar mechanism. If it's not there, you can actually go and manually, rename stuff. So I'll just call this course as, like my course. So you can see everything it got, everywhere it got updated. All right. One last thing that we would like to see, because see, classes is a big topic, and we will see that in a little bit more detail in inheritance as well. But classes is actually, quite a big topic. In fact, yeah. So we will be covering this in more detail, probably in a separate course altogether. That will be dedicated just for classes and just for object-oriented programming. Since this is a basic course, so I don't think it's actually it would be outside the scope actually to go very deep into the classes over here. All right. One last thing, I would like to actually make this make a function. Actually, this would technically now be a method, because this is inside of a class called summary. Okay. So what we would like to do is just, in the summary, if we just do my course dot summary, then this should print out that this is a course titled so and so by so and so of these many hours. All right. So let's just make that statement print. Yeah, what do we want to print? This is a course. This is a course titled, and now I'll use a string format function. What you can do is just use these curly braces. They're like placeholders. All right. So you can actually just supply this value later. We'll come to this. This is a course titled so and so. After this, I think we'll just put a new line, and we'll say taught by, then the name of the instructor will come, after which we will give one more new line, and we would just say spanning so many hours. All right. So if we print this out right now, what will happen is, first of all, let's see how to call a method on the class or on the object. All right. So I'll get rid of all of this and just print my course. Actually, I do not need to print, because summary itself is printing, so I can just call that particular method. I could just do my course dot summary. If we do this now, what we are going to get, this is a course titled, well, we got these literal curly braces, which is not something we wanted, right? What we wanted is that the course should the title should have, this value should have been loaded, a course in gardening and instructor. So it's not really working our way. Well, obviously, we have given no sort of hint to Python that, hey, this that this particular first curly braces should refer to the title and so on. So let's go ahead and do that. We outside a string, you have to use the format function on the string, and now the first thing you would want is title, right? Title, and then you would want instructor, and then you would want duration, right? Now this if this works correctly, title should actually come in the place of this curly brace, instructor should come in the place of this curly brace, and duration should come in the place of this curly braces. But you can clearly see that it's, well, there's some red lines over here, which is not usually a good sign. If we run this, we get an error, right? What is the error? It says title is not defined, but you see that title is defined right over here. So why is there a mismatch? Because when you actually want to refer to a variable that is declared in a class, you have to implicitly refer it by this self object. Okay, self refers to the object of this class. In this case, self actually means my course. Okay, so when you want to access this variable, you always have to do a self dot title. I'll just remind you, self is a pronoun that the object likes to call its own self with. It need not be self. If you want, you can call it this. You can call it this dot title, all right? Or instead of this, you can call it me dot title. I mean, any word is fine, but any any method, basically the first parameter to any method is a reference to its own object. Alright, so we'll just go ahead with the standard self, because most of the times self is the word that is used. So self dot title, and because this is getting too big, so I'll just put it over here, self dot instructor, and again self dot duration. Does that make sense? See, the red lines have also disappeared. So what's happening is we are saying, okay, for the first curly brace, go to self dot title. So when Python sees self, it understands, okay, that the code is talking about, because we are calling this summary method on this my course object, right? So self refers to my course. You're essentially doing something like my course dot title, but since that is from inside this method, you're doing self dot title. All right, if you run this now, you'll get the nice summary. This is a course title, a course in gardening taught by Bob, spanning 20 hours. All right, so look, there is obviously this is only a beginner video, and you can say classes is actually a very, very deep topic, and we will actually look into this in more detail, but for now I think this is enough. Again, make sure that you have understood this, because in the next in an upcoming video we will be actually seeing inheritance as well. So over there classes will be used again. All right, thank you. That's it for this video, and keep learning.